Outside the Hooters restaurant near the Inner Harbor, you can see images of the pretty waitresses which have become the chain's trademark. But behind closed doors, it appears their beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
I actually started noticing there was an issue when other African American employees, they tried to come into work wearing their hair curly, and they would get in trouble by management. They would tell them, you can't come back to work unless you straighten out your hair.
25-year-old Farryn Johnson ran into some trouble of her own when she showed up one day with blonde highlights in her hair. She claims her managers told her to change it or else.
And I didn't see that it would be a big issue just because there were a lot of other employees working at the restaurant of other races with color in their hair. For instance, there was Asian girls with red hair and Caucasian girls with black hair and blonde streaks. So I didn't think it would be an issue for the little piece of blonde highlight in my hair.
Balancing school with her work on a limited budget, Johnson says she could ill afford to return to the hair salon to change it. And a few months later, she was fired for what the company deemed as her improper image. She has since filed a charge of discrimination.
The law is clear that employers can't have two separate, unequal sets of rules, one for African American employees and one for everybody else. And yet that's exactly what Hooters did here in firing Ms. Johnson, an African American employee, solely because she's African American. They targeted her because of her hair, solely because of her race.
In downtown Baltimore, Jeff Hager, ABC 2 News.
A Maryland waitress wins a discrimination case. The former Hooters employee says she was fired because of her hair. WJZ is live. Amy Yensi joins us. A Baltimore arbitrator weighs in on her discipline and her firing. Amy?
Denise, that woman saying that the lawsuit was never just about her hair. It's about ensuring that all employees are held to the same standards. After waiting for more than a year, Farryn Johnson gets the phone call she's been waiting for.
She said, good news, the law was on your side.
Johnson claims she was fired from the Harbor Place Hooters in 2013 because her blonde highlights weren't allowed.
They said it was literally because I'm black and black people don't have blonde hair. That's what a manager actually told me.
Johnson claims that waitresses of other races were not disciplined for having unnatural hair colors. An arbitrator ruling this week that the facts clearly show that Hooters' policy was implemented in a way that discriminated against the former waitress. Johnson's attorney says the restaurant chain's image policy is too vague.
People have implicit biases, and those shine through, unfortunately, when they're left with so much discretion to make decisions.
What are you hoping this ruling means for the Hooters image policy?
Having a racially discriminatory image policy is wrong. It violates the law. They can't do it.
Despite the arbitrator awarding Johnson over $250,000 for lost wages and attorney fees, Hooters denies any wrongdoing. A statement on their website reads in part, quote, Ms. Johnson's claims of discrimination are simply without merit, and Hooters received an adverse and flawed decision from the arbitrator presiding over the case. Johnson now works as a leasing consultant. She says the color of her hair is not an issue at her current job. Reporting live, Amy Yensi, WJZ, Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you, Amy. The former waitress is also asking Hooters for an official apology.
It's great news for that young lady. She seems like she got some smarts up in that noggin. Oh yeah, my movie for the night. Last fall, I think it was, or maybe November, or I forgot when this movie came out. I don't recall. But I wanted to see this at the drive-in theater. Ben Affleck's movie, Gone Girl. She was awarded that $250,000. Good for her. Certain workplaces, they do have their policies, you know, and I remember when I used to work at the Hyatt, for the Hyatt Corporation in Long Beach, back in the day, they would always have it where in the loss prevention staff, they want you to have a clean shave, like at all times. Like damn near, you would have to look like a firefighter or a cop. You know what I'm saying? And then we would wear these pinstripe suits. It's like if you having one of those days where you didn't shave, you'll get a write-up. The first one is a warning, second one is a write-up, and then I think the third one is suspension for like day. And then if it persists, you know, there's termination. But me and some of the other employees, we joke around, and I used to always say, hey man, I ain't having no clean shave, no Cuba Gooding clean shave, fuck that. Like, I would say things like that, because I never liked having like a clean baby face shave, you know. I didn't like that. I like to have more of a shadow, like a light shadow. But I remember those days at the Hyatt with their policy. Also with your suit, it has to be, they had like it was like a built-in cleaners that we had in the back of the house. That's what we call it, in the back of the house. Like there was Checkers, right there, the cafeteria, and then right across from there, there was the dry clean little department where you take your suits in and you get them dry cleaned, which was cool. You know what I mean? You didn't have to come out the pocket and take them to a cleaners yourself. You know, I like to say shout out to the Advice Show again. He was the first one that I saw that had covered this story. I always do that. When I see other tubers who cover a story first, I always give a shout out all the time. And then some tubers I may email, and if I feel that they can do a good commentary on a certain story that they may have not covered, I'll give them a suggestion. Yeah. So she got awarded that cheese, like we say in hip-hop terms. She got awarded that cheese. Right on. You know, and hopefully within the work industry, this is a lesson to be learned. That you don't say things like that. Like she was saying that the manager had said something to her as far as like black people don't have blonde hair. Like that was racist. You know what I'm saying? That's just like saying black people don't have blue eyes. Well, I have blue eyes, and I happen to be black, and my shit is real, no contacts. I done said that many a times. You know what I mean? So you can't just go off thinking that. Well, this former waitress came up on y'all. Sorry, Hooters, y'all lost.